Hello and welcome to the Wild Wild West podcast. My name is Richie of the MHRT Network. I can spoke good, I promise. Over here to my right is Alex Givens. You can catch him on Arrowhead Addict, writing all of the greatest articles there on his Kansas City Chiefs. Down directly below, you might recognize him from the on-air coverage of his Las Vegas Raiders. Is the Raider Pirate himself, Captain Jack Rackham. You can also catch him on his YouTube channel directly for various shows, again, about his Raiders. And down directly here, diagonally, and I got the point dead on this go-round. This is fantastic. Good day today, is Coach Defense of the Lockdown Defense Podcast, staple show on the Lockdown Defense Podcast on Tuesday with the one and only Coach Defense and Coach Kurt, as well as some rotating guests. Yesterday's show was a good one. If you guys haven't seen it, jump on and give that a gander. Ladies and gentlemen, got a great show. We're going to start jumping into a review of what happened last week. Some of us would prefer to forget it. Others were happy with the outcome. That's
not me on feedback, is it?
I don't know.
Mute your mic and we'll find out real quick.
Is that me on feedback?
Mute your mic and we'll find out real quick. Yep. Yes.
Case is closed.
I knew it before. He said it. I just didn't say anything. It's always him.
So, guys, what we'll do is any news with regards to our collective teams, we'll just discuss that as we're doing our recap for the past week. Obviously, Alex, you have some news that just dropped.
Breaking.
Not too long ago, so we'll jump into that for you guys when we kick over to you, Coach. With you and your new background,
coming to us live from SoFi.
Yeah, let's. Coach,
Rivers Lake.
Coach, it is remarkable that you were able to sit on water. Which is,
yeah.
All right.
You're like Russ at the 50 right now. Just
Little big things out here, man. I'm levitating.
Yeah. All right. Fantastic. I'm glad they got that new fancy chair for you that allows you to hover there on the water.
For jetpack action.
Yeah. So let's jump into the Chargers. Talk about what you guys going on last game and any news that you'd like to share with us.
If we must start with the depressing news and get to the important stuff later, right? Just get it on out the way, right? Yeah. I mean, where do we begin of all the things that I could pinpoint that we did wrong in this game? You know, it's like being in a toxic relationship. You know, it really is. I mean, it's a toxic relationship being a Chargers fan. It really is. It's you. She promises you that she's going to do better. And she gives you superficial things about how she's going to change. She does the little things. Like take out the trash, and she might wash the windows every so often. But when it comes down to the brass tacks of it all, when it's really the chips are really down, the chips are on the table, and you really need that person to come through for you, they let you down. They just let you down every single time. It's the same old song each and every time. We think and we hope and we wish that things would be different, but it's the same OG. Same OG. Anybody familiar with the Genuine song? Same OG. So, we can pinpoint all the negatives, that are prevalent and inconsistent. Like it's funny that we're never consistent about the things to do right, but we're always consistent to things you can do wrong. Right? She can't cook. Yeah, right. Well, yeah, exactly. She tries though. She tries to cook. And you're shooting some bail because you you like the effort, but the bottom line is, it's terrible. It's terrible eating. It's terrible consumption of food. So, it's just a toxic relationship that we're in as fandom, right? But again, like I said, it's one of those situations where you always find the fact that they always will consistently the wrong things they do are consistent, but the right things are never consistent. When you absolutely positively need them to do the right thing, that's when they let you down, and that's been an issue. So, in talking about the game, the overarching headline for the game for me is who was going to. I'm gonna harken back to the Minnesota game. Who was going to outcoach the other person in a bad way? Like it was a contest of who was going to outcoach the person badly. Like who's going to be the worst coach in this situation? And we're just going to go volley back and forth and make bad decision after bad decision until one of us loses the game. And it just so happens that we're on the negative end of this particular go around. Kevin O'Connell was the winner in the Vikings game, and Brandon Staley was the winner in this game. So again, and then giving us false hope by driving down the field, first drive, getting the touchdown. Get everybody excited, get the fan base riled up, and then it was literally radio silence offensively for another quarter and a half. But surprisingly, enough now, I don't know where to give credit to. When it comes down to whether or not it was more so Dallas's ineptitude or our defense, but they weren't lighting up the scoreboard either. So that's that's something that you can maybe build upon. I don't know, but if it was a truly solid defensive effort, it was the first time in weeks that we've seen that. So they held them down until we get to the end of this first half, and they get the ball with about a minute left, and they start to drive down, and right when we had the ability to get them off the field and stop them and keep them out of field goal range, Derwin James has a bonehead 15-yard penalty he gets, and boom, you put him in field goal range. So and again, you could say that the red zone offense isn't great, so all they're going to do is at most get 3, but you're giving up points, and in this particular game, that could be a game changer. So that bonehead penalty on top of the idea that our offense was missing for the most part of the game. It's like they only get motivated and they want to start to move the ball and be innovative on offense when they're down, because when they got down, they started to move the ball again. Still can't run the ball. I mean, that's a growing thing, but I wouldn't expect them to run the ball this game, because Dallas defense is good. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and act like the Dallas defense isn't top notch. It is definitely legit. Their front seven is massively good. Like it's
man, they got Micah Parsons. What more do you need?
Right, you got Parsons, you got St. Lawrence, you got Mozzie Smith or Diggy Zua, and even with them not having Van Der Esch, they still were stout up front. So couple of good front seven with a bad run offense is a recipe for disaster. So I didn't expect us to run the game, but at least try to keep them honest. I mean, we can harken back to the Rams game when I think there was in the Super Bowl when they couldn't run the ball at all, but they kept trying just to keep the defense honest. So that particular aspect of it, and having Eckler back, you would have thought they would have made it more of a conscious effort. And I want to pinpoint one thing too that I thought it was interesting about this game overarching is that typically, and you saw this kind of sort of with a chess match between Bill Belichick and McDaniel, is that I know certain things about you because we coached together for long facets of time, and I would have expected for Kellen Moore to have a couple of things up his sleeve that were was going to catch Dallas off guard, and I didn't see it. So that was one of the things that kind of stuck out to me, that, again, after that first drive, it was like, okay, what Dan Quinn likes to do. The personnel for the most part, you should know weakness or a chink in the armor, to a degree that you can exploit, but I didn't really see it.
Same thing, though. Dan Quinn could know that about Kellen Moore's offense.
That's good. That's a good point. And so it could have just been a meeting of the minds per se, and we're just going back and forth. But clearly, Dan Quinn was winning that battle because, like I said, we didn't score any points throughout the first half after that first drive. It was punt, 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 turnover on downs or punt. So that part, with it, us having to try to get back on track with our offense, because I really feel like our offense has been different since Mike Williams got hurt. I was hoping, for us having a bye week and things of that nature, having 2 full weeks to prepare, we would kind of figure out roles and kind of carve out niches for people, and they would figure out exactly what they are and what we can be going forward. Didn't really see it. Ben Johnson still is a disappointment, and again, I can harp on that as well. But he's missing in action. The only time he was targeted, it was an interception.
Is he going to be Kevin White or what?
I hope not. I hope not. I mean,
I hope not either.
You spent a first round pick on it. You wanted the guy to hit. I mean, that's what you want. But I mean, again, I've had my argument about the idea of why they should have drafted a different receiver other than him. But I'm not gonna cry over spilled milk.
Yeah, is what it is.
So that that just the decision making in certain regards. We went for it on 4th down, didn't get it, and if we could have got a field goal. That's Brandon Staley's modus operandi. And if you go back and look at the stats, they've been talking about this all week, how the Chargers in the last year and a half have been the second most losses for 3 points or less. So if you think about those 4th and Staley's that he's been going for a lot, if you just every so often, we wouldn't be known for that, right? But yeah, again, I digress.
I mean, hell, it's bad when it was like the first drive or second drive, and they went for it. It was like 4th and 1, and they're like, "Is he going to go for it?" And they're like, "Oh, I guess he's not going to be aggressive now." And I was like, "Damn, it's only been 5 minutes in the game. Like, chill out."
Exactly. So I mean, high points. Like I said, the offense is different without Mike Williams. The lack of a running game is still a problem. I think that the Corey Linsley being missing in that pass protection is a big issue, and I've always said that he's definitely the quarterback of that line. They definitely pass protect and run block differently when he's in the lineup versus not. And just flat out lack of discipline. Like seriously, the amount of penalties in this game was egregious on both sides. Like it was just bad, and I really, really think that really boils down to mental lapses, mental mistakes that you have to correct in practice, and they're not doing that. So I think that's one of the biggest, most glaring issues that really causes games, because I feel like those penalties are always opportunistic for the offense, where you could get them off the field on a 2nd and 3rd and long, and you give up a penalty, give them a first down, sustains the drive. Because there's one thing you can't do is when offense is not like the Jets or the 49ers, when you can give up penalties and still get stops. If you give up 15-yard penalties or holding penalties or things that are going to cost you first downs, you're likely going to give up points in that spec. So that part is definitely killing us as well. So, I think that overall it's something that needs a lot of fixing, a lot of work. And I'm not sure exactly where you begin at it, or can you fix it, because it's been like this for the past 3 years. Again,
you're right. This game, you had nine penalties for 79 yards.
Exactly. And you also got to look at the play-by-play too, because you got to look at it when the penalties were committed. Because
that matters a lot. Like you said at the end of that game, you gave up that position on the field, which then converted from no points to points. So not only time of game, but also position on the field where those penalties occurred. That's huge. And
they also harp on the idea that we are give up the most 3rd and longs in the league, but that's half of that is giving up a completion to the offense. The other half is the penalties. It was one particular play we got called for holding on 2 different guys. Like you literally like pick and choose who you want. That was the issue. So the penalties, the run game, the offense sputtering. Personnel, in certain regards, especially at safety. When you got your best guy out there, costing us points, that's an issue. And again, we're light at safety, and another one towards ACL in the game, so he's gone. So yeah, I'm just I'm a little pessimistic about what's going forward, to be honest with you, because again, if you look at all of these issues, these are the type of things you need time to clean up, and I'm just not sure they have it, because you had a bye week early to correct these things, and they it reared its ugly head again. And how many times over and over are we going to keep banging our heads against the locker and expect us not to get a concussion? I don't know.
So the other question here is, all right, Lindsley's hurt. Now he's an older center, but he hasn't really he's had a few injury issues the last couple of years. But before then, he
I
really
think last year was like his real first significant
that's
time.
what I was going to say. He hasn't really missed much up until these last 2 seasons.
Right. And this was not even an injury; it's a heart condition. So it's not like he's hurt.
Right.
Like he got hurt in the game or something. It's a heart condition.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So I guess the question here is, do you think that this was an issue with succession planning, or is just one of those things where, of course, you're not replacing a dude that's just that good?
No, I mean you can't predict that a guy's gonna come out with a heart condition. I mean, because if he didn't have a heart condition, he'd be playing right now.
No, but I meant depth. Like, you always want that other guy. So, like, who's my backup center? Who's my backup guard? Who's my swing tackle? That kind of stuff, right?
I think center is a different position. I believe that you can have depth at guard. You can maybe have even depth at tackle. But center, when they're the quarterback of the line, they're making line adjustments. They're I guess you can say galvanizing the troops. That's a whole different animal. Because you look at it like this: Creed Humphrey. You take Creed Humphrey off the Chiefs line. Their line is different. It just is.
Center does a lot, man.
Yeah,
exactly.
Especially with younger QBs.
Yeah. You take Kelsey off the Eagles, that O-line is different. So I think that Kelsey being gone, if we lost Zion Johnson or Jamari Saleh, I think we'd be fine. But losing Kelsey is a big issue and a big, I guess you can say detriment to our line and our pass protection. Because again, he's the quarterback of the line. And it takes pressure off the quarterback when you don't have to worry about your protection being right.
Right.
So having a backup center there is definitely something that you have to overcome. In a sense. So I definitely believe that's an issue too. But again, there's a lot of wrong here. And I'm just not sure exactly how or where you start to correct it. But you have to get better and chip away at it, because if you don't, it's going to be the same, process all and over again. And then we let the Dallas game slip away, and then we get the Chiefs right behind that. And our schedule is not friendly, period, going forward. So it's you gotta figure it out. It's one of those things on the fly that you got to figure it out if you want to win games. If you don't, guess what? You're going to continue to lose games.
Yeah. So a couple points of order here. That we just want to.
Chris Jones is going to line up on Will Clapp's side every time.
Will Clapp.
Yeah. So guys, just a quick point of order. A couple things here. One, thank you for all who are joining us live. We really do appreciate it. Continue leaving us your questions and comments there in the chat. As we are on the Chargers here, if you guys want to jump in the chat and ask your questions or make your comments about the Chargers loss there to the Dallas Cowboys, that would be great. I'd like to hear those comments come in and see those come in here as well. And also for anyone who is joining us live, we really appreciate you clicking that like button on our channels here. It helps bring more people here into the show and gets just a whole little chat hopping here, which is a good thing. And also for those that are on Twitter or X, for whatever, yes, Asylum,
fire away, baby.
I remember some of your comments from our last show, and there were some good ones in there. So yes, I would like you to make your comments. And just with regards to X, they have taken away the Periscope component, which actually allowed the old Twitter to allow their comments to flow through to the streaming platforms. So jump over to YouTube or to Facebook, please, to leave your comments. We greatly appreciate it because we want to hear from you. Now, on to the rest of the show.
Right. Yeah. And all the folks that shouted me out in the chat, I saw it. I was just busy on my rant. So salute to everybody. Goatee gang, all the Chargers fans in here, Jack and everybody else. I didn't forget you. My rant. Yeah. POP, hold it down. Yeah.
POP, hold it down.
There it is. So yeah. Yeah, so all the folks that shouted me out in the chat, salute. I didn't forget you. I just was on my little Chargers rant for a minute. So pardon me.
And just so you're all aware, Captain is technically with us. He's having some technical challenges right now that he's trying to work through. He will be back, and you will definitely be getting
He's in the cloud.
more than a few words from the Raider Pirate in just a moment. So, Alex, any thoughts on the Chargers, and then we'll move on to the two of us.
Yeah.
Both sides of the same coin, one crap and one good.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I don't know about good, but
Yeah, like I said, I just told you, there ain't much to hang your hat on. That's positive right now.
I mean, I watched the game and I thought it kind of, attest to what Coach was saying. It just seemed, at least in terms of the offense, this would have been like to me as a outsider looking in, this is the type of game that the Chargers go and get a Kellen Moore for, to be able to have an explosive offense and, outscore and win in these, more elite type matchups, and you just didn't see that in this game. So we'll get there. All right, we'll get to the T Swift. It's the Chiefs' new signing.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of the thought about that Chargers Cowboys game.
Yeah. Eventually, you just want better for yourself, and we just can't seem to get it. That's the biggest issue. And again, like I said, to go back to my naturally, they keep giving you signs like they might change.
Hey, I'm sorry, baby, I didn't mean it.
Right. They,
All right.
She's back in the club. She's back in the streets.
Yeah.
You promised me
You
you
say
wouldn't go
so.
back. But that's
I think the real thing we need to talk about is a super fan that's like a paid actress. What's going on with that?
I'm not addressing that garbage. I'm not addressing that. People
First
need,
it was the AI robots, and now it's just little Asian people.
Need to go outside and enjoy life for a change and stay off the internet, because that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just Twitter, man. Just the Twitter fingers.
People need to touch grass every now and then. That's the issue.
So I actually think you have some interesting challenges on your team, Coach, because your line was at least seen as a strength of your team coming into this season. I would certainly place myself in that boat, where I actually thought you guys had one of the better lines in the NFL from the offensive line perspective. And
but you see,
now
one person goes out.
The center goes out, and now it's kind of on rocky footing. But nonetheless, I mean, you think I truly thought that at least the rest of your guys were far enough along.
I got a different one. This won't be in Mahomes. I got a Terminator. Where was it? Just tell us where. In the back?
Oh, no, not at all.
So
man, leave me alone this week.
Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting kind of dynamic that's occurred for the Chargers, where it seems that now it's not so much a liability, but certainly not a strength. And as a result of some of your line problems, you're not running the ball at all.
We haven't run the ball since week one. Like literally against the Dolphins, we ran the ball well. And I was hopeful that would continue, but they haven't been able to run the ball ever since then, which I don't understand. But yet again, that's they ran the ball really well all preseason and the first game. I don't know what's changed from week one to now, but that's the issue. And Jack, to answer your question, we got a 6th-round pick. We got their the Patriots 6, and they gave up our 7th. So we got 2 6 now in the draft instead of 6 and a 7th. That's what we gave up for JC, and $24 million in dead cap space.
Damn.
Yeah.
Double homicide.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to say dead?
That seems to be the common way of doing it now, Coach, which is you have the former team eat the cap space, and then you're willing to kind of do like a late mid.
Clayton's bouncing around, dude. Let's go.
All right, Clayton. Whoa. Thank you, buddy.
He's hitting us from all angles.
Yeah, all over, man. That's great.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there. Okay. I thought that after I said it. All right, let's just move on.
Jesus.
It's done. All right.
And just think, Coach, you have to do a show with him after this too.
I know. I know.
Oh, all right.
We're going here. I'm just saying.
And it's getting later in the day, so just imagine the nonsense that could come out of his mouth then. Good luck.
Who knows? We'll
Yeah.
hope
Just because Cap's not here, let's not put this title on me. All right.
Right.
Like,
Somebody got to do it, right? Somebody got to do the job.
All right. No.
Well, is there a pin that goes along with the?
Yeah.
But anyways,
I got a hat or something.
yeah.
Right.
So Alex, may as well jump in. May as well jump in before we get sidetracked too far on our game here. Now that we've kind of delved into the Chargers and the Dallas game, and we'll kind of keep the show moving along here. I wasn't that far off on the score.
I'm pretty sure you said like 70 points.
Well, I said by 70 points because I expected a slightly better offense, but then when it came to the prediction, I had I guessed by 14. I guess that there was going to be a delta of 14 points between our two teams. Frankly, there should have been. Actually, there should have been a lot more than even 14 between the two teams. But it was just a handful of points there. But again, I was closer than not. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, I said it last week that almost every outing, the last 4 to 6 times was a 6 point or less game. So kind of played out with a little suspense at the end after that touchdown, the reverse touchdown.
Yes,
but I mean, yeah, I thought for as smug as this will sound, I don't mean it to sound smug, but I thought it was more. The Chiefs' offense looked pretty lackluster compared to anything that Denver was doing. It was just kind of this continuation of sort of a lack of identity of where to go with the ball outside of Kelsey.
It seemed like it just seemed like I hate to almost say it. It seemed like Mahomes was lost.
Yeah, I mean, like they were god awful in third downs. Mean, and they only had one true 3-and-out drive, but to go down the field and end in 4 different field goals, 4 different times. I think you're 1 for 5 in the red zone. Those aren't the numbers you want to see for offensive productivity.
No. No, and I mean, I think there's a bit of a hybrid there where the Broncos defense kind of, mixed and matched a little bit, which is kind of what Mahomes has typically struggled with, when they play Denver. But at the end of the day, I actually put the lack of scoring more on Kansas City not doing what they should have done. And not so much on how well the Broncos defense played. Like it was more Kansas City not doing well rather than the Broncos defense looking absolutely, outstanding. Don't get me wrong. For the Broncos defense this season, they played very well.
No, yeah, absolutely. It was very much an as advertised AFC West game. Both sides very familiar with each other. Simmons with the pick. He's like the only player to intercept Mahomes, I think, more than twice now. So,
yeah.
Like I said, pretty much expected AFC West matchup. But I mean, I agree with that. It just seemed very lackluster at times. From the passing game, especially once that interception kind of happened early. I think you saw a little bit more timidness, from Mahomes to kind of open it up and go deep down the field. And when he did, it was, to Kelsey. Then they kind of didn't know what to do after that.
I suspect that with your newest edition returning, I suspect that there's going to be a bit more comfort there from Mahomes, where he's familiar with Hardman there, the types of routes he can run. a lot of his routes actually, oddly enough, in the Andy Reid system are decoys, where his goal and job on the field is to actually pull the defenders away from where the real play is going. And then every once in a while, a team will kind of say, I know what you're trying to do with that dude. And they like leave him completely uncovered. And then Mahomes is like, okay.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah. Because I think, it's either week one. Yeah, week one, he caught like 3 or 4 touchdowns, and it was pretty relatively quiet, for most of the rest of the year.
Yes.
But yeah, I guess to segue, into that, obviously the Chiefs a couple hours ago, really, traded to bring Hardman back to KC. I think swapped 6th and 7th round picks. So not really anything too major, and only taken on 1.08 million of his salary. So pretty cost-effective move, I think, to bring in the Nuggies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a pretty cost-effective move to bring a guy back that's familiar with everything, and good timing with the injury to Justin Watson, who, for better or worse, has been the deep ball guy for this point of the season. So certainly a good benefactor to bring a different deep route option into the fold that's been there. So you kind of would hopefully can plug and play them, but I'd imagine they'll kind of either go one of two ways. They'll ease him in and he will actually be a contributing member, or he'll just be on the team and maybe return punts. Because I feel like a lot of times the Chiefs sign someone and bring them in midpoint of the season and they just don't do anything with them. So, we'll see. But, I think they certainly have a need for an over-the-top type of player. Not that McColl has overly established himself as someone that garners, extra attention for doing that, but he has the speed to do it. So, not a bad move. Then on top of that, the disgruntled Bronco Frank Clark is also in KC to get a physical. It seems like he will probably inevitably be back on the team as well. So, two of those, I guess, reunion type moves that I think are coming at the right time, especially when you need an offense that kind of trying to figure itself out. I think good to bring someone a little more familiarity and who's been there to maybe help some of these newer receivers kind of get on the same page. Because honestly, I think that's what the biggest issue is. Just, outside of Mahomes and Kelsey, that connection's obviously there. But he's not a 24-year-old tight end, so it's. I don't think a good thing to think 17-week, 18-week regular season, you got to rely on a 32-year-old tight end to hopefully continue his streak of 1,000 yards and everything else. But, outside of that, no one's really stepped up to kind of take that Robin-esque role in the passing game. Rashee Rice might be that guy, but it's also a rookie. I think he's
getting there. He's not there yet. He's getting there. You started to see some of the flashes in that game, but he's new. Like the guy's literally just moved in and figured out how to open a locker at the NFL level.
Yeah,
he's not at a point where he can start. He's not running polished routes. Even look at Tyreek Hill when he first came to the Chiefs. His secret sauce.
He's a running back.
He was a running back / try to catch me if you can.
Yeah, we'll give you a jet sweep once a game.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's going to know you're going to do it.
And they can't catch you anyway.
Still get 10 yards.
They can't catch you anyway.
We should teach this guy to run some routes.
Yeah.
And I know I've said before, Hardman was drafted at a time when it was not sure whether Tyreek was going to play that season or be suspended or not. So, he has the same type of traits, hasn't executed on them to the degree that Tyreek has.
Yes.
But I mean, those traits are him and Tony are kind of very similar receivers. I would say Hardman's probably a little bit better of a route runner at this stage than Tony is. So I don't know. I mean, we'll wait and see how much of a added effect this brings in. But yeah, I mean, I would never question swapping late round picks for someone who's been in your system to come back and maybe help things out. So yeah, not mad about that.
Silent, this is a family show. Let's tone this down. All right, let's tone this down, my friend. Let's tone this down.
We did tell him to just let it rip on the comments. So I mean,
I did.
This kind of assumption of the risk here.
Yeah, this is
he did warn us, and we said, "Have at it." Plus, Roku took off their restrictions, so we're ready to go, baby.
Brad, as much as I would love to actually agree with you, I don't.
Yeah, I would like that, but I don't see any way that they're trading internally like that.
My point is, I am not disappointed he's likely going.
He got just dogged by Steve Smith, man.
Oh yeah.
Steve Smith said, "Nah, you gonna do that? I'm gonna double down."
I love Steve Smith, by the way. I just want to say that publicly. I want to say I love Steve Smith.
Have you ever seen the the Amazon, like when Amazon used to do the season-long like Hard Knocks type show, and they did the Panthers, and Steve Smith's like, it's DJ Moore's rookie year, and he's standing behind him. He's like, Cam. He's like, should I start this guy? He hasn't done shit all year. He
said, is he just another guy, or should I start him? He said, not me. I wouldn't say all that, but it's not a trade. Don't find me. But that was
he went in on Judy though.
He did. He really did. Because he was trying to piece it up with him, and then Judy was, still talking spicy. So he was like, okay, all right. Well, you want to talk spicy? Let's talk spicy. Yeah. And that's what he did. He went on national TV.
And at that time, he had 2 catches for 3 yards. Or whatever the hell it was.
Coach, it wasn't so much that he was talking with some pizzazz, in terms
it's
of
looking like it.
Yeah, it is. It is. But it was more that he even took it a step further and basically insulted him. Right. And so that's really
the face to the fire on that one.
Yeah. That's really where Steve Smith took an issue, and he kind of explained that even in the little lead into his.
I was being politically correct. I know exactly how it went down. I feel like I was there.
No, but I mean,
how I went down.
You can see it right now.
Yeah. But the point is that it wasn't so much just talking spicy; it was being straight up disrespectful. Right, and my point is that there's a difference between the two.
Right.
Yeah. There's a difference between the two. Captain, now that you are back and audible and whatnot, you had indicated you wanted to give us a little bit of information in terms of the Chargers' loss, as well as probably the.
You thought you were done, Coach? No.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Sit down.
I didn't realize dog collar was in my contract.
Here it comes.
Coach, I'm going to actually say, and hopefully there's not as much feedback. I rebooted. I cleaned up the computer. There's still a little bit of a linger. And no, I'm not giving the team the Italian salute. I actually have horrible neuropathy, as I've had since the day after I came back from Buffalo, and I can't seem to get rid of it. Plus, I got neck pain, and again, I'm starting to sound like an old crickety, old fucked up man, and I can say that now. Oh, I'm sorry. This is not on Roku yet. I apologize. Oh, I'm sorry. See, you got me. For all the folks in the audience, again, I'm not supposed to swear on the show that is put up by my friends here, but again, the pain is very, very, very bad. So I apologize to all. Bad pain. Not going to dogpile on the Garglers losing, because at the time I was watching the Phillies beat the Diamondbacks on my flight back. So the only time I really had no, that was last night. They beat the crap out of the Diamondbacks 10-0. I wanted to watch the Phillies game, and I saw that they were winning, and they ended up hanging on for the win on Monday. I bounced back and forth to watch the game, and I was quite surprised that it was as close as it was. But again, I didn't get a chance to view it. I heard that and I'll be kind. I already dropped one gargler, so I won't have to do it anymore. Oh well, technically two, but I didn't see as much of the game. But I heard that both teams' offenses were not all that in a biscuit. So if that's for true, then I applaud the Chargers defense for actually keeping up. As I know, the Cowboys defense played rather well most of the time, from what I understand. So again, am I ecstatic that and I almost said San Diego. Am I ecstatic that Los Angeles lost? Oh, hell yeah. But I'm not going to pile on because, again, I'm not feeling good, and it's just bad suit.
Sure, pile right now. No, you seen that pile. But go ahead though.
No, yeah. I'm not, Coach. Trust me. I can go off.
It's a death by 1,000 cuts.
I can go off. It's just that I'm not feeling very well. But again, I'm not even going to go off on the fact that the Smugs beat the Donkeys, because again, that was expected, and it was actually a close game, as we alluded to here. So again, am I happy that the LAC lost? Yes. Am I even giddy that the Donkeys are in last place? It was to be expected based upon what we've seen this year. Then there's still an opportunity for them to rise up, because they got a lot of house cleaning to do, and we have to figure out whether it's. And I talked with the one Bronco fan, Clayton, last night. I said, is it Peyton, or is it the team, or is it both? Is it Wilson? And he still says that it's Peyton doing what McDaniels did for the Raiders last year, is that he's cleaning house. He's getting his system installed, and it's gonna take a bit for the people to get used to it. Okay. And I can see that as well. So, and people are saying, well, if Denver sucks so bad that they're going to be in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes, I'm like, okay, well, if that's and Richie, I actually kind of hope so, because I don't think he's going to be all that in a biscuit. I think he's going to be a decent quarterback, but is he the second coming of Mahomes? I don't think so. And I'll actually remove the arm. You'll actually see the spasms every once in a while in the arm as to why I'm going through the pain that I am. But Raiders are 500. I did get a chance to have some TV time dancing, and that was nice. I mean, I won't belabor the fact that it's cool when you actually get some screen time, and it's nice. But I don't. It's not the end all be all, but it's fun because I'm out there with the people, and I have fun with the fans, and the best thing is hanging out with the kids and the chicks. I'll admit that's the really cool thing about doing what I do. I will be out in Chicago this weekend, and that'll be fun, and I look forward to hopefully front row seat with Hollywood. Hollywood gets me on TV all the time. If I don't have Hollywood, it's because I usually have a really, really pleasant eye candy next to me. And sure enough, I did for this last broadcast. So it goes without saying. But again, a little under the weather. Apologies. I got other things going on. I will tell the crew after the show other things that are going on. So there's a lot going on in my life. But again, not going to dogpile you there, Coach. You lost, and you're gonna get better, and that's just the way it is.
Just got to go up. Just keep that attitude up.
And like I said, and I only dropped the G word. See, I won't even go through. I only dropped the G word twice, but one was a identification of the G word itself. So I'm
willing to bet there will be a third G word dropped at some point in the next
maybe
hour.
when I feel better. Maybe when I feel better. If I said, damn it, if I can get this to stop.
So, Captain, while you're able to kind of get through sentences there and whatnot, while you're not in as much pain, hopefully.
Yes, sir.
Your thoughts on your team's win over the Patriots?
It was a bad team beating a very crappy team. And that's about all it is. The Raiders were 500, but because the Patriots would have to improve considerably to just suck, because they're beyond suck. So the wins that the Raiders have this year, were against a decent Packers team. Although coach thinks that they were a lot better than us, I don't think so. Against a decent Packers team, a not so great Denver team, and a New England team that'll be lucky if Belichick gets his 300th win this year, because he has to get at least one more just to get the 300. He's not going to get the 17 in addition to that to beat Shula. So therein lies the question as to what's going to happen. And I don't really give a flying foxtrot on that. I worry about my team as well. And I think that going to Chicago this week when they have Justin Fields not playing, and I had one of the guys from the Bears on my show last night, the defense guy, great guy, and we had our song. It's Secret Agent Man, Secret Agent Man, because that's their quarterback. It's a guy named Agent, so and what looks like Agent, yeah, and so and he's playing over the oft wandering Nathan Peterman, who was a Raiders quarterback a couple years ago. He was Gruden's favorite pet project.
So he threw like 8 interceptions in a game.
Yeah, but
in
not
Buffalo or whatever.
He was
in Buffalo, but
he was in Buffalo when he did it. But he actually played a lot better for us. Again, as a objective or trying to be semi-objective Raider fan, I want to see what comes out. I want to see if I was gonna say
I thought the Gagent sounded like a jab. I was pretty sure the dude's name's not Gagent.
Whatever. Oh, whatever. I'm sorry, I got his name wrong. But they were secret Agent Man, but I had his name wrong. I wasn't trying to slam him. Not that there's anything wrong with that for all those that that get the pun. It's Bajent. I apologize. But we'll see. There's still plenty of football left. And again, as I said before the season, the goal for the Raiders is to be better than last year. They were 6-11 last year. 7, 8, 9, 10 is obviously better. And that's what I think is in the wheelhouse, depending upon how we play. And the best thing I can say is that the Raiders defense is playing quite well overall and can get better. It's the offense that needs to get better. And we will see if that happens with what I've been told. And then Anna might back me up because she's my source in LV, that from what I've heard, it will be AOC4 at the helm this week again. I like what I see with Hoyer coming in, plug and play. He doesn't need any more action. And that's why I said, let O'Connell cook, see how he does, because I want to go at the end of this season. I really want to know if we have to go grab a quarterback high next year. And it's not going to be Williams. I'm on record saying, get one of the other quarterbacks if you're going to go high round one. Caleb Williams is going to be decent, but I don't think he's the end all be all. Jack Kenna wants to adopt him as his own son. I'm being kind, Jack, because I've said other things in the past, that. But he wants to adopt him like the chick in The Blind Side. But that's just the way it is. But we'll see. Raiders are trending up. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit, not as animated as I am. Give me a little bit of time, and I'll be there. But I'm apologies to the crew for all the people that are expecting me to jump out of my chair. Lots going on, physical and mentally, right now. There you go, sir.
Yeah. So first up, I don't think you guys can be picking up high enough in the draft to get in the upper tier of quarterbacks. In my
You got to go for that big Penix energy.
Yeah.
You already ran into me the game.
That big Penix energy, baby.
And that's what I'm saying is that I don't think if we continue to do as we can, we would have to jump in for it. But it depends upon the folks that are already up there if they've already grabbed their quarterback. Okay, does the Chicago, and from what I understand, Chicago would take a flyer on Williams if they have the worst team. It's not going to be if the Panthers are picking again, they're not going to pick another quarterback after taking Bryce Young. I don't think the Texans are going to be taking another quarterback. So it all depends upon how the draft board pops out and who wants to get a pick for whoever wants to offer up.
Yeah. No, fair enough. It's
Thanks, DZ. I definitely need some Arby's right now, although I did have it earlier. So that's what I ate.
Big beef and cheddar.
Yeah, it was a beef and cheddar with bacon, or actually zebra, because Jews don't eat bacon. So it was beef and cheddar with zebra. That's how you can get around that. It's a verbal thing.
I see.
Fair enough.
So I think it's about time we move on to the week ahead.
No, Patriot. I have on sweats. I do have on pants. Just for those that were wondering, it's sweats.
You got a real Duck Dynasty vibe going right now.
Yeah, I would. I trust me. If I wasn't wearing pants, yeah. If I wasn't wearing pants, I'll be the first one not to move out of my chair. You guys.
So time to look ahead at the week ahead. Alex, I figured I'd throw over to you first, being the kind of consecutive wins there with your Chiefs to kind of give you the credit where credit's due there in the division. And let's talk about your upcoming game this week in terms of how you think you're going to do.
Yeah. So we'll move on from one AFC West game to another one with Coach's Chargers. So at back-to-back games in Arrowhead, and honestly, where the Chiefs are sitting at 5-1, it is a pretty big game in terms of the general landscape of how the AFC West title run will go. Because they win this game, then pretty comfortably in the driver's seat to secure 8 AFC straight West titles or whatever. But that being said, I would have thought that the Broncos game would have been more of an offensive outing to make you feel a little better about, going into this matchup. Because honestly, I'd say this Chargers offense is probably the best unit that they've played. At least the Chiefs defense has played up to this point this year. That's going to be their first true test, so to speak, on that side of the ball. While the defense has been elite, that's kind of masked the offensive conundrums, if you will, in terms of their productivity. Because I think the Chiefs have only scored 22 points, or that's defense. Defense is averaging, giving up 14.7 points per game right now, which is only behind San Francisco. So, obviously they're playing at an elite level, which is, like I said, help mask some of the offensive woes because they haven't, frankly, needed to, just grossly outscore their opponent like they did in years past. Chargers offense, especially on paper, as well as kind of where their at least passing attack's been up to the point this year. I think it's the best offense that they're going to face. That being said as well, it's still an AFC West matchup. Chiefs have, I think, won the last 3 straight. But again, similar to the Broncos or Raiders, probably for that matter, every game has been decided by no more than 8 points. So I mean, I still think we're going to be in for another good close game that's going to come down to the final possession. Because frankly, that I feel like every Chargers game comes down to the final possession, regardless if it's the Chiefs or not. But I do anticipate or predict the Chiefs to win. I think they're 5.5-point favorites, but I have the score 24-17, which is pretty in line with where it usually falls, given the previous history. But yeah, my keys to the game, like I said, I think the defense needs to continue playing at an elite level. That kind of doesn't need to be said, but I think you should say it. Going against this offense, but bright side of that, Charles Omenihu, the big offseason signing, is returning after his suspension, so it'll be good to add another pass rusher to the mix, which I think will only allow Chris Jones to move around in a more versatile manner. And as DZ pointed out, hopefully put him over Mr. Clapp and just let him clap. That I think is a good thing to come. I definitely need to continue the solid offensive line play, because up to this point, Mahomes is the second least pressured QB, which I think is a strong testament for how good the offensive lines play. Because if you've watched at least a decent chunk of the Chiefs games, that he's been holding on to the ball really effing long, I feel like, because he's trying to figure out where to go with it. So I think that's a pretty big testament for how good the O-line has been. Pressure on just 26% of dropbacks right now. And I think that's obviously a huge key to this, especially with Mac and Bosa, and Mac kind of being little fountain of youth rejuvenation here with this sack production. Because Chargers are third in the NFL right now in sacks, 21. So
yeah, but remember, Matt got 6 of those against the Raiders that one game, so I think that's a little bit skewed. And again,
still got him.
I mean, I understand that, but it was, it's. I think it'll even out as the year goes on, that it won't be as high.
Yeah. Obviously, little skewed to 21 sacks at week 6, I feel like is pretty a gaudy number to some degree. But at the same time, still something they're going to have to consider. And I compare their front similar to the Jets. Jets might have a little bit more in terms of depth across the board. But the Jets front 7 gave the Chiefs O-line a lot of fits, and I think that was that probably skewed that Mahomes pressure percentage a little bit after that game. And if you watched it, you saw the difference that made in terms of them moving the ball. And it made it a game because of how much pressure he was getting. And he ultimately, I kind of tweaked his ankle, and that, created a little bit with that. So, obviously that's going to be a huge component to this game, especially being AFC West. They're going to have special packages or stunts drawn up specifically for the Chiefs. So, that definitely going to need to be up to par there. And then lastly, I just think, Reed needs to call just a better, not get so cute with the ball at times. I feel like the past couple of weeks you've seen him just do a lot of gadgety type trick plays in really weird situations when you're like, dude, just run throw a bubble or run outside zone. We don't need to run a QB sneak tush push with the in motion tight end who stops there, So, and I think especially in the Broncos game and the week before that, that's kind of been the pivotal moment of, where they could quote unquote go for the jugular, where they do something like that, give the ball back, and then next thing you know, 5 minutes left and it's a game because you didn't get points to kind of close it out. So, I think those are the three biggest things. And then obviously just continue the progression with the passing game. Chargers secondary, I think, is last or second to last in that front. So you would hope that this could be the coming out party, so to speak. But I feel like I've been saying that for 4 weeks now. So at this point,
Hardman coming back. Hardman coming back is going to be an interesting addition, I think, because it's kind of a bit of a perfect storm for you guys, in my opinion, because Coach, I think you actually kind of made a comment at one point earlier, but no, sorry, it was on social, which is
Twitter.
What a perfect piece! What a piece to bring in right ahead of the Chargers
it's like
game.
Thanos getting his stone.
Yeah, exactly. Because at this point here, you have a dude that needs no training. There is no learning curve. He
was pretty damn fresh because he's been a healthy scratch for like 4 weeks. So
he hadn't played, so he got fresh legs. Mm-hmm.
He ready.
Fresh legs, already knows the playbook, already knows the locker room. I mean, really, at this point here, he's probably going to be giving back the same locker with the stickers that are still on it.
Probably just took off Richie James. They're like, hey, Richie.
He'll be back. Don't worry.
Yeah,
he'll be back.
Yeah.
He'll be back.
Don't worry, my man. We kept your name tag.
It worked good for a little bit, Asylum, all right? It worked all right for a little bit.
Right.
But, I don't think that he'll be overly involved in this game just for the pure, sense of him coming back. And it's, not even a week. But he'll be out there, and I think where you're getting at earlier, Richie. I think
you just need
they'll use and I think they'll use him to open up spots for other people because right now you're relying on Sky Moore to be the guy to draw some attention for someone else to be open, and he hasn't done anything to make a defender kind of account for that. And so I think that's where you saw situations like there's times in this game last week where Damari Mathis was able to make plays on the ball because he knew that it wasn't going to you could tell they were trying to mess with him. He's like, no, I know where, and it's because it was Sky Moore or Tony, which are two guys that haven't really done anything despite being given 15 plus targets thus far. And
right.
I think that's kind of where they're going with Hardman for this week. I think he'll be out there. I think he will be running routes, but I think it's more for the mindset of here's this fast guy who's pretty fresh. And if he's wide open, obviously we'll hit him, but we're not going to scheme him into the game plan at this point. But I'm going to put him out there so they think that we're doing that and maybe try to account for a deep ball threat because he's out there. And then that gets Kelsey open more over the middle. That gets Tony open more. That gets Rashee Rice open more. I think that's kind of the mindset with it for this week, which obviously then propound off of that. But, I feel like it's also kind of a unique situation because I feel like not that many times you get someone back after just,
a year,
5 months.
Not even.
Since April, May, since the draft, basically, that, was only been out of your building for 5 months and is relatively fresh. I think that's kind of a unique situation in terms of the acquisition itself. But, I think general principles of acquiring someone after a trade like this, they're not just immediately put in and, just automatically producing.
So my prediction in this game here, and Coach, and then I want to throw to you because I want the Chargers side of this, which is my prediction, Alex, is I think you're right in some degrees, but wrong in others. And I think this is where you're going to start seeing some interesting things. My prediction is that they are going to put Hardman in the game with Sky Moore, and they're going to have Sky. Yes. But I think what they're going to do is they're going to then start playing the McCole Hardman and Tyreek Hill roles, whereas Hardman's going to play the Tyreek Hill role.
Where's it going? Look at the eyes.
Yeah. and that's what I think is going to happen, right? Is I think you're going to have Sky Moore kind of play what Hardman was when Tyreek was there. Keep in mind, Hardman remembers that playbook. There's no way he forgets it. I'm sorry. He was there too long. It's he's still got it, right? And So I think that what you're going to have is Hardman will come back and know exactly what he needs to do in that situation, and they scheme up one or two routes where Hardman was playing what Sky Moore is playing, and then now Hardman's going to take that Tyreek role, and I think that you're going to see, in my opinion, for what it's worth, a bigger role from Hardman than you think. And that's just my opinion. I mean, I could be absolutely wrong.
I hope you're right. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Certainly, no one's really proven their point to not make an effort to get him in the game plan. So, I mean, you could be right. I just think with it being like so short out, they won't. But like I said, I hope you're wrong. That'd be cool. Because then, I think that opens up a lot of things for them.
It does.
But I think we'll just see that happen down the road versus this game here. So
no, I understand. I just think that it's a divisional opponent, and I think it's a bit of a shock and awe factor where you have a divisional game which matters the most, like in terms of stats and standings and all that kind of stuff. And then I also think that the Chargers, it puts an extra asterisk exclamation mark on the game where you're forcing the opponent to go into a bunch of what ifs. And I'm not sure personally, for what it's worth, Coach, and then throwing over to you, if your head coach there, Mr. Staley, is going to go all the way down that road, because traditionally he seems to get gashed with some obvious things. And to me, that seems like a potential obvious move that Reed will kind of just do to say, well, like, what did you expect I was going to do?
Yeah.
like you're like,
what do you think?
Like, you know what I mean?
Standing right there.
What do you think I was going to do? Like, come on now. So, Coach, your thoughts on that game and how you think your team's going to do against the Chiefs, and your thoughts on some of those types of comments.
Chargers lose, the end.
Succinct.
I'm not sure, honestly, because this particular brand of the Chiefs we haven't really seen before. When they're more known for playing, hard-nosed defense than being really dynamic on offense. Like, it's completely a total opposite in reverse. So that's an issue. Because I'll give Steady a Scotia credit from the past that he has done pretty well in scheming up against the Chiefs, and he's played them tough in the past. I mean, for his tenure, he's been there. He's probably played tough consistently in the division is the Chiefs. But I mean, what you should want, I mean, they are the standard in the division. They won a division several times in a row, so you would want to play the best team in the division. Tough and hopefully get a victory here or there. But I'm just curious about exactly how this offense is going to fare against their defense, because like you said, the most brightest part of this team right now is the defensive side of the ball, which again is a total staunch difference from years past. So that's a dynamic that you may have not had on your bingo card going into the season. So that particular part of it, I'm wondering how Kellen Moore is going to adjust to that in that attack that they're going to have. And to Alex's point, getting a Minihue back, and most likely adding Frank Clark, so you added two pass rushers on top of the two young ones you have with Chris Jones in the middle. That's a tall order. It's a tall order because they can rotate guys in and out. You can get a fresh guy every single down practically. If you
get an Eagles team. You get like an Eagles team like they had before, where they were constantly cycling dudes out.
Rotating guys, before then everybody's still fresh. So, that's another issue, another dynamic that you have to worry about, because the pass rush is going to be relentless. If you keep rotating guys, keeping them fresh. So, that part, it's just a broken record at this point. They have to figure out a way to run the ball, because you can't, unless you are the Chiefs in years past, you can't be one dimensional and expect to get away with it, in large space. So, I have to run the ball. I'm not asking for the Cleveland Browns level of production, but I'm asking for the defense to honor it. Just have to make them honor it. So you're the best parts of your offense and best parts of Justin Herbert's game is play action. For him to be able to get the play action off and things of that nature. He and Brandon Staley and people in the staff say that you don't have to run the ball to make play action work. I disagree. Because I think that although they may, this is speaking from a linebacker perspective, if you do play action, the linebackers take a brief step, up into the line, it's not drastic as a play fake when they really feel like the run is coming. So, I think that allows for, holes to open up on the backside of the defense right behind the linebackers where you can make your hay, right? But, I think that what they need to focus on for sure is just to figure out who's going to be the number 2 guy. I mean, Gerald Everett has been anemic. I think that, Josh Palmer has had his moments here and there, but, Keenan Allen's the only reliable and most dependable person Justin Herbert can go to. So if they really make it a point to try to focus on taking Keenan Allen away,
he's still effective though.
Yeah,
he's if you do try to take him away, do your best effort to try to take Keenan away. Then who's going to be the next guy to step up? So that's the biggest thing. So I don't know. So yeah, I believe that it's going to be interesting game. Just hoping it doesn't get out of hand one way or the other. I'm not going to sit here and act like I have faith on Staley being anything other than what he's been for us for the last 3 years. So I just if he just stays out of the way, let's put it like that. If he just stays out of the way in regards to making decisions that could put us in bad spots, then I'll be happy with that. I'll put it that way. So if we're not going for egregious, amounts of 4th downs instead of kicking field goals, and putting points on the board, because I get that whole argument that, if you kick a lot of field goals, you will lose games, but sometimes you just need to kick those field goals, especially when the score is tight. If it's a 1-score game and you can get back in the game or get closer with a field goal versus going for it on 4th down percentage, you can win or lose games right then and there. So the decision making, the running the ball, and trying to figure out an identity and a number 2 receiver outside of Keenan Allen is something that there's positives that I'm looking forward to happening. Whether that it results in us being in the game or not, I don't know. But I believe that if nothing else, this have to be a figured out game. Because whether you beat the Chiefs or not, you have to figure out what's going to happen. Because again, if you don't figure it out at this point, you may not never. So
yeah. And I'm gonna quickly jump into the what will be another Broncos loss this coming Sunday against the Green Bay Packers. I thought we should just quickly jump into that because we really should be brief about it because it will be a brief glimmer of hope at some point in the game where some delusional Broncos fans will actually think we're going to win, and we won't. I actually had this chalked as a loss from the beginning of the season in my season predictions. I believe that roster composition is going to play a huge role in this loss this week, just as I think that rosters like the Steelers, the Vikings, the Browns, they're constructed in such a way that the Broncos they're going to get eaten alive just because of the way that they're put together. And I just think that the Packers are put together in a well enough way where we won't win, in my opinion. This is an interesting one, Matt. Guys, I'm going to take a minute or so here and just kind of break down a little Broncos.
Break it down, baby.
Broncos math, if you will. Matt, thank you for bringing that up. There are some guarantees, and I may as well just go right into it. There are some guarantees in Russell Wilson's contract in terms of injuries and whatnot, where he gets rolled over into the following year that actually are negative for the Broncos in order to have him potentially get hurt this season, for example. Now, in our, for our favor, at least in our defense for keeping him on the field despite looking like trash, he typically just doesn't get hurt. And like he does, like Russell Wilson is generally one of the healthier quarterbacks or healthiest quarterbacks in the NFL overall. He gets a little dinged up.
So his last year in Seattle, I think.
Yeah, his last year in Seattle, and that was pretty much. And he had like a little ding up or something,
like a finger thing.
Well, yeah,
I think but like one knee and a finger in his whole caer.
Yeah,
not that finger.
That finger thing.
Not that one.
Yeah. But
I had to do at least one. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, by and large, he's played as long as he hasn't and barely had any major injuries at all, which is, more than what we could say for other quarterbacks that are within our division in terms of getting hurt. Yes. Look at this stage here, you just got to own it, right?
I own it. I own it.
Yeah. So when you look at what we're doing here with Russ, in my opinion, we're probably going to have him play on our team and on the roster actively right up until the bye week. And then I think there will be a reasonable chance there if the Broncos are truly wanting to try to win, or at least say we have to do something because what we're doing now isn't working, would be at that point put Stidham in to see if a spark can kind of be had on the offensive side of the ball. That would be my thought process.
But you think if you're at that point, wouldn't you just be like, F it, like, let's just see how bad we can be? So we can just pick as high as possible?
No, because at that point there, you are then basically saying, we don't want Russ as our QB1 next year, period.
Yeah.
If he can't get it done, like, you need to get to a point where you can exhaust every potential avenue to say, can he actually do the thing he was brought in for? And if the answer to that is no, then at some point you have to say, then we need to maximize our ability or minimize our ability and liability from a money perspective because we want to cut him or trade him. No, I don't think he has a tremendous amount of trade value. I
don't think you're trading him, man. I think it's
like maybe a seventh and a ham sandwich. But
I think it's more if you got to draft someone not named Caleb Williams and you tell them they're sitting for at least 1 year, and you tell Russ, like, you have 1 more year to figure it out.
Doesn't make sense because you're paying him. So I looked into the math. So there's a Broncos podcast that went out there. Highly recommend going and looking at it if you're wanting the numbers, just if you're interested in Russell Wilson and what that looks like, that broke down the numbers. Basically, to paraphrase kind of what came of that, there's a difference of dead cap money of 85 to 86 million if you keep him that extra year. So it's only 1 million extra in dead cap. But where it really kills you is his salary. His salary next year is like $39 million. Yeah. And so you're gonna begrudgingly eat the dead cap, but is a backup quarterback worth 40 mil? Or 39 mil? No. Well,
I don't think he's going to be your backup. I think that whoever you draft would sit behind him, and you tell Russ, you got a year to look good for someone else.
At that point there, you'd rather go out and find, keep Stidham on the roster almost as the dude behind the rookie quarterback, or anybody else really for that matter that you can go and target as an older veteran to kind of say, hey, look, like, this guy ain't taking your job. Like, you're either going to have like Stidham come in and play if he can actually look okay, or you're going to have Stidham sit behind as a backup and act as a mentor, or find another quarterback who is kind of on their way out of the league that wants to leave a legacy. But Russ can't do that at basically what's going to cost the Broncos a $40 million hit next year by keeping him, because you're adding that extra million onto dead cap plus paying $39 million in his salary. Makes no sense. You eat the dead cap of 85 mil and you make sure he doesn't get hurt this season so that you don't end up rolling over guarantees. Yeah. And so it's a super, super interesting contract, and also one of the reasons why a lot of people are pointing a lot of fingers now at the general manager.
Yeah, I think he obviously has to get fired after this year. I mean, hell.
Yeah.
Just for that contract alone. You kind of stuck because what you traded for, what you gave up to get him, you had to pay him because his contract was going to come due soon after he got there. So you put all this draft.
You had no choice.
You had no choice. He thought he was going to be your guy. At the moment you did it, you looked at him as your franchise quarterback, so you had to pay him.
I disagree.
but the idea of eating 86 plus $1 million in dead cap, that might be unprecedented. I'm not sure if I've ever heard of that. So I'm more on the side where Alex is. I think they feel like they got to at least go one more year into his contract, because the contract technically does not start until next year. The new one does. So you're gonna eat the whole contract basically and get nothing from it after you sign them to it.
Well, the guarantees started back into the current contract, which is why they're actually as, dare I say, low as they are now. Because
that's not low. $86 million is not low.
No, I used air quotes. I don't know if you saw them. It was as low
the
as it
lasers.
Is now. Yes, it's like lasers.
It is low.
Yes, and so, because he had, I think, 160 mil guaranteed as part of the contract. If I'm not mistaken, I think 150, 160, somewhere in that range. And GA Patriot, you're wrong.
At one point in time, he was the first ballot.
At one point in time, I would agree with you that he was.
I think he's played himself out of that one.
Yeah, Seattle was on that arc.
Let's put it this way: Russ was on that arc, and that arc is very.
No, I feel like there was like a solid five-year stretch where it was like Russell Wilson for MVP until about week 12, and then someone else was like, they're the MVP. But it was like, I feel like for like a solid 5 years, it was like, yes, Russell Wilson.
So $124 million fully guaranteed in that deal.
Whew. Right. And so when you look at that spread out over,
I was
that
say,
contract,
what we talking last week? $30 million to do nothing. At least he's kind of doing something.
Yeah. So, well,
okay. There's your jab, Coach. You felt like I weren't giving you enough. Okay.
All I wanted was some freaking sharks, some freaking laser beams,
freaking
heads. All I wanted was a freaking quarterback that could throw the freaking ball into the end zone.
Right.
Well, look, the Broncos really, truly did have a bunch of plans in place. We really did go through plans A through G, but we landed on preparation H instead.
Wow.
It really felt. It really felt on the whole. It felt good, right? Yeah.
I agree. On the whole, it's
preparation H. I call it the Alan Parsons Project.
Right.
So
Operation Wake Jug Ass.
There's so much to pull from that one.
Really
but anyways, with regards to the Broncos, I think that basically against the Packers, I don't think we're going to win. I think it's going to be a bit of a closer game than most people think. I'm not predicting this to be a blowout or any kind of major loss like we've had before. I see this as somewhere between a 3 to 7 point loss for the Broncos. I think it turns out to be kind of one of those types of games. But I do think that you're going to eventually see it kind of be a crawl to the finish of the game, but the Broncos are not going to look like they're going to have much of a chance, in my opinion. That's just what I think.
I hope it's a Jordan Love coming out party. I really do. But
I
don't know. He looked pretty bad in his last game.
His fantasy rant there. I know what that is. I know what that sounds like.
Yeah, well, that's for after the show, guys. That's for after the show.
That's a shameless plug.
Yeah, that's for after the show. And so that's kind of where I'm at with regards to the Broncos in this game. It's unfortunate, but I do think it's kind of what's going to end up happening here. Captain, your thoughts on your Raiders game this upcoming week?
The Raiders. I was loving all of the drops from the oh shoot, I don't remember
Austin Powers.
I can't remember which Austin Powers, but yeah. I mean, with some freaking lasers.
That was the first one. That was the spy. That was the spy. That was the spy who shot me. Yeah.
But yeah, great stuff. I kind of went over it a little bit when I was came back, and I appreciate you bearing with me. I honestly think that, and when people were saying last week, "Oh, we got this," it's the Pats, and I'm like, it's a Raiders team that plays down to their competition and plays up to the AFC West competition, and as it is, like I said, having the Bears not with their starting quarterback, with a lot of their guys out, okay. It just spells trap disaster.
It does.
You know, in Chicago, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but like I said, our games have been close. Aside from Buffalo, our games have been close throughout the year, and it's not going to be a blowout by any stretch. It's going to be a close game because, again, even when the Raiders were one of the better teams in football, they played down to their competition. And they played up for the really good teams, and that's something that really hasn't changed. So, showdown preview.
Exactly. I think he was a D2 guy. He was from a D2 school.
Yeah, he is from a D2.
Shepherd or something like that.
Yeah, Shepherd or something. Yeah, like a Good Shepherd Christian high school.
Yeah,
but
from Shepherd University of the Blind, I believe.
The secret lady nuns of Shepherd. But again, it's, and I see what Matt said, and I agree with that. Other Matt, 07. It feels like a Mullins game when he played his first 49ers game. If you guys don't remember that, when the 49ers really sucked a couple years ago, and they had Mullins come in as his first NFL start, either on like a Sunday night or a Monday Night Football, and the Raiders were, oh, we got this. You know, you just throw our helmets on the field and we're just going to run up the score. And Mullins came in on his very first game as a starter, just blew the socks off of everybody that was wearing black that game. And it was still around. It was horrible. Okay, so don't ever think that just because it's a game that you should win or are expected to win. I cite just recently the game last year against the Indy Colts when Jeff Saturday was hauled in to coach the Colts in a game that they weren't even supposed to get off the plane, and just said, hey, you know, just do a touch and go and be gone with it. And they won, and they played rather well. So again, you never know what's going to happen. Okay. Matt Marinovich is true in saying that the Raiders defense is the focal point of the team this year, much like the Chiefs defense is keeping them in games and playing a lot better. Who would have thunk it? The Raiders defense, the much maligned portion of the roster with enough salary cap space, is the one that is playing much better under Graham. So the one positive thing that I can think about it is that I believe it's going to be O'Connell against what you might call a JV Bears defense, and we'll see what happens there. But again, you got Bagent. I called him Gagent, and it wasn't a slur by any.
Not that there's anything wrong with that,
but it's going to be a good game. It's going to be something. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Thank you there. Appreciate that, Smug, for keeping me off the I don't know how many acronym or not
keeping you off the PC radar, baby.
Thank you, shipmate. I do appreciate that. But again, we're going to see that. I think the Raiders should win, just like I thought last week that the Raiders should win, but that's not a guarantee. It's away from home. I can't remember the last time the Raiders had a 3-game winning streak. Even when we were in the playoffs a couple years ago, I think that was the last time the Raiders had a 3-game winning streak. So I'm streaming the Raiders defense. Hey, it's not bad, DZ, that to pick them up in fantasy. But for all your fantasy questions, please be sure to check out after the show the Fantasy Watch, very aptly presented by Coach Defense and the real Alex Givens there on the Lockdown Defense YouTube channel for all your friends that need to know who to pick in fantasy. Straight
Good job,
up.
Cap. Appreciate you.
Boom.
Give me a sweat.
Check the mail.
Give me a segue, man.
Check
Like I said, that was unplanned, but I'm like, hey, I will take the promo shots anytime I can. I'll help out my ship.
No, that was a throw.
That was a
That
good
was a
one.
plug.
That was a throw.
Yeah.
That was a throw right there. Good job.
That was
Yep.
the Castellanos homer right there.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah,
go.
it was. It was a nice smack. It was a nice smack. So thanks again.
What is the one thing? Well, I'm going to say just I've already played the Bears. The Broncos have.
And the Chiefs.
one. I think you guys have too, right? The Chiefs.
Yeah, we put up like 45 points.
Right.
Yeah, that's
But-
The
pretty
only time they look like an offense.
Yeah. The one thing that I will say though is some of their interior linemen were getting quite a bit of pressure on the quarterback.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So
You said,
Yeah, Pitch is hilarious, by the way.
I know. He's a
Damn it!
savage.
I'm trying to get the other one on.
Captain, the one thing that I am interested in is the Raiders have had some challenges off and on with the offensive line this year a little bit.
Somebody
and-
grab GA Patriots thing. Go ahead, sir. With the offensive line.
There you go.
Thank you, Ship. Man. I was trying to
Hey, we
grab
kept it at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I've been trying to grab it.
Hold on.
Yeah.
It's
So I
like the
do
door.
think I do think that we need to. The one thing to look at this game is going to be
Whatever.
the Bears' interior pressure on the defensive side against your offensive line. That certainly does seem to be one of the Bears. I'm not going to call it a strength. I'm just certainly going to call it the best part of their defense right now. And given the fact that it's kind of we'll call it a modest strength versus a known weakness as a juxtapose.
yeah.
I think that'll be an interesting element of this game, especially with a younger quarterback and a team that he's unfamiliar with. So I do think it'll be an interesting part of this game. And that's just kind of the one thing I would say to look out for.
Well, the one thing that I can say is that there isn't a 50 who on the other side that's going to get 6 sacks against them one individual. Now, as a team, they might come out after them and get some of the pressure. I would agree with you on that, Richie. Is that the Raiders' interior from Parham, who's actually regressed this year from what I thought was a very good rookie campaign. James is doing okay. Van Roten is playing for Alex Bars, and they said, well, anybody's got to be better than Alex Bars. I don't even know if that's true. I mean, yeah, maybe he is, but from left guard to right guard, it sucks. Hey, thanks again there, Wilbur. Appreciate you being there. Who day, who dat, or whatever it is, because I can't.
Who day?
Yeah, who day. Thank you there,
Who
Wilbur.
day, baby.
There you go. And
Yeah.
thank you.
They're
there,
the Saints?
No, he's a
No,
Bengal.
that's the Bengals. That's the Bengals deal.
Yeah, that's
Don't
that's
they both?
the Bengals.
Don't they both use the same thing?
No.
No, one's a who dat.
Who
And
that?
that,
Oh
and
my
day,
bad.
yeah.
Oh my bad.
Who dat. That's why I want to make sure I got it right.
Sounds like
Yeah.
copyright infringement, but whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like 5 nations out there too. So that's
There's only one.
Okay. There's only
I heard-
one nation, motherfucker. Okay, there you go.
I heard Michael Parsons say there's the Cowboys are the real nation this week.
Nah, man, that's just horrible to think. I was going to say something, and then I got, and
my
then
bad.
Smug threw me off my course. Yeah, I'll think of it later on. But again, Raiders should take it. We'll see if it actually happens. The Raiders would then be, if they do
Over
win,
500.
it
Over
would
500.
It would be 4-3.
Over
And
500.
God forbid if the Garglers could actually pull off a squeak.
I told you we'd get another one.
I had to because I needed to. I tried not to. I
You could've had
tried
that.
not to.
You can't help
I did.
yourself. You can't help
I
yourself.
did. Yeah, well, when we were talking that, I had to throw it. And yes, you were correct. I tried not to though. But if they can squeak one out, just like a bad turd against the Chiefs in is it in KC or is it in LA?
It's in KC.
Okay, yeah. I doubt very seriously that they can, but God forbid if the world would just goes to hell in a handbasket.
Just shine on us once.
Yeah, it would. it would.
Sweet Lord would just bless us one time.
Yeah.
That's all he has.
Matt Marinovich said, "Yeah, Matt Marinovich gets it. There is only one nation, Raider Nation." See, Smug got me for it, but again, we'll see. Stranger things have happened, and we'll go from there. 4-3 with an ass whooping the following Monday night in Detroit to get back to 500 in reality.
Detroit.
That is one team that is killing it this year.
That's right.
I mean, they are just slaughtering other teams.
All of slaughterhouse.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for the show. Until next week, we will be back with another set of reviews and analysis on the AFC West with all four of us. And again, another quick reminder, an absolute shameless plug. Directly after this show,
right after the show,
9:30
at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, you have Coach Defense and the one and the only, the real Alex Givens, who are doing their fantasy podcast. You can catch it live.
We win Patriot games every week, so
we do.
Come on,
we do.
Patriot honestly won his games by his draft because he's in leagues with idiots, but
we still help.
But we still help them.
Yeah. So, anyways, jump over, check them out. If you haven't checked previous weeks and you'd like to kind of know why you lost your fantasy because you didn't listen,
there you go.
Go back and look as to why you failed. And
their intro is really good for that. If you can't figure it out by not just at least watch the intro, which should get you hooked for the rest of the show.
Should get you hyped up.
The
intro makes you want to go fight somebody.
And this is me talking. Like I said, the intro is wonderful and it gets you all squared away for the rest of the show.
Yeah,
get your fantasy picks with Coach and Smug immediately after this show.
Smug show.
There we go. I'm cool with it. Whatever.
At this point, it's just going to be on a T-shirt at some point.
That's just me.
Yeah.
Just me now.
All right, guys. Until next week, where the West Side's the best side. Peace.
When you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.